What's up, everybody? This is the Sports League Podcast. Back for another week. I'm the host, Alex Leak. We got the co host, Amanda. Amanda, did you have a good Thanksgiving? Great food and great football.
Yeah, there was a couple really good games and the food always was superb. I love when we host, so I'm in control of most of the food, so I get to make sure everything comes out top of the line, but it was a great day of food and football for sure.
Absolutely. And so I went out on a limb and picked four upsets. I only got one of them, but what threw me and why I picked all four upsets is because everyone was picking the favorites. And I knew the odds had to be that at least one of these was going to be an upset. I was hoping for two. I only got one. And I don't think, I think the long shot really was Packers over the Lions, and that's what we got with all those injuries. And I texted you 16 inactives. If I had known it was going to be that many, I don't know if I would have even picked it.
Well, 16 inactives plus the two they sent to IR who had started and made plays in the previous game. So that's
Yeah,
why I picked against them. I think the Lions are feisty, they're fun to watch, they're scrappy, but when a third of your team has been injured, like, and isn't playing, I mean, it's really hard to expect them to win. So I liked your pick and I was rooting for the Packers the whole game. It wasn't like the week before where I was actually rooting for the Chargers to win, but they really pulled it off. And Jordan Love is really coming into his own, which has been fun to watch. I mean, I've held off opinions on him because, he's young, he's got to kind of sink into things and find his spot. But I mean, he dialed up some beautiful plays. There's a 53-yard bomb to Watson on like the first snap of the game. Stunning.
yeah. No, I agree. I mean, being a Bears fan, we've been kind of like, joke like hating on Jordan Love all season, but he's played his best two performances of his career the last two games. We talked about 300 yards passing, no turnovers last week, and I was really impressed with him on Thursday, not only protecting the football, hitting some deep balls, but navigating the pocket really well and showing off different types of throws, sidearmed, in traffic, showing off accuracy and some good different throwing angles. So he's got the arm talent. It's like with any young quarterback, is the consistency going to be there? Can he continually do this? But back to back good performances. He's playing with confidence right now. And on the other side, another reason why I picked Green Bay is Jared Goff and the Lions are playing with a lack of confidence right now. Jared Goff with another three turnover game, right?
Yeah, his issue has been turnovers for weeks now, and you've been on the, Goff is garbage train for a few weeks now, but man, he looked bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fumble city, right? Last week was interception city with three picks. This week, three fumbles. And then on top of that, four turnovers on downs. Like at some point, and I tweeted this, at some point, when is Dan Campbell going to realize, hey, maybe all these on downs is hurting our team's chances of winning, right?
Yeah, I mean there was a 4th and 4 that was a horrible, horrible field position. I could not believe they went for it there.
The fake punt,
Yeah,
yeah, on their own 22-yard line.
yeah, it was insane.
And they had some positive momentum at that time, and so very confusing. Dan Campbell said post game that it was a bad decision. He should have never called that. So at least he can admit that. But it was crazy though the way that the Packers jumped out to a 23-6 lead and then hung on to win 29-22. Big win for Green Bay and big loss for Detroit. A lot of Lions fans are saying let's not overreact to this loss. We're still 8-3. We're still in the driver's seat to win the division. But what I've been saying for 3 weeks now of the Lions not playing very good football is, I mean, cool, you might win the division, but what happens when you get to the playoffs? You're not going to win a single playoff game if you're playing this level of football, right?
Yeah, I mean they beat the Bears, but they should not have won that game.
Yeah.
Like the Bears had the turnover battle like in their pocket. It was completely won. That was just a miracle they won that game. But I mean, we always talk about short weeks. The kid had 6 turnovers in 4 days. Like
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the short week kind of got to him. So I'm gonna withhold some judgment a little bit because that was a really tough back-to-back situation after 4 days over a holiday weekend. So we're gonna, give him the benefit of the doubt a little bit and see what happens next week. Because that's a short week and we know that kicks their butts. We've seen some really good teams come in on a short week and completely get demolished before. But I mean, not to discredit Rashawn Gary, that pass
Yeah.
rush, I
Yeah.
mean, he had an amazing game. He was an absolute menace. I mean, he picked up 3 sacks, forced 2 fumbles, had a fumble recovery. So he was there on like every Lions offensive play. So I'm proud of him. I'm not trying to discredit the Green Bay defense for having a great game. But it was a short week for the Lions, so I don't want to talk too much shit because we know that's really tough on football teams.
It is, but I'm not going to make any excuses. This is a team that should have won. They were favored. They're the more talented team. They're on Thanksgiving where they're trying to snap a 6 game losing streak. And it's a Thanksgiving tradition for the Lions. And so they wanted to win this game. They wanted to play their best performance in front of the home fans. And to put out a dud like that is very discouraging. And you mentioned it, so, like, we've talked about the Lions' defense being a bit of a liability recently. Then we talked about Jared Goff struggling. To me, what was most glaring about this game was the Lions' offensive line was getting pushed around and dominated by the Packers' D line. I mean, you would know
26
this,
pressures.
huh?
That line had 26 pressures.
Yeah, is that something Green Bay has been doing this year, or did you see that coming at all?
I mean, they've had games when the right people are in the game and not injured, where they've been
Hmm.
completely smooth and clicking like that, where our defense does what they can, but then our offense hasn't put up enough points to win. Like we've seen some low scoring matchups where Green Bay lost 14-17. And their defense kind of handled the game, but the offense couldn't get going. So I've been quietly enjoying the Green Bay defense this year.
Yeah, and Rashawn Gary, like you said, a monster game from him. And so we'll see if the Lions can address these issues going forward. But 8-3 is a great record, but they haven't been playing very good football. So we'll see if they can turn it around. Packers improved to 5-6,
I
two
mean,
game
that's
winning
that's an
streak.
interesting spot in the division because
Yeah.
I mean it's a close race right now.
Yeah, and when my Bears beat the Vikings on Monday night, you're gonna be right there.
Perfect. I would like to shout out, I know everyone likes in the media likes to talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Simone Biles, Olympic gold medalist, gymnast, is married to Packers safety Jonathan Owens, who had a first quarter fumble and scored on it. So shout out to him. It's a celebrity couple that people like to completely ignore, but he had a great game and she went off on Twitter and was yelling on the sidelines and stuff. So just wanted
Nice.
to throw some spotlight on someone besides Taylor Swift's boyfriend for once.
Yeah, seriously, the NFL goes too far overboard with that and then doesn't even mention this one.
Yeah, it irks the shit out of me. Maybe it's because Kansas City's been playing better and there's not much to call home about with Green Bay. But
Yeah.
what's funny is you and I both saw the same post about how the Lions, since the AFL NFL merger, they're 0-12 on Thanksgiving when the moon is in a waxing gibbous phase. And Jay Kuda posted this and then said, tomorrow is a waxing gibbous. He posted this on Wednesday and you and I both screenshot it. And it's hilarious. They have lost every time
Yeah.
that they have played since 1966. Every Thanksgiving game they have played that the moon was in a waxing gibbous phase. So, you and I thought it was total bullshit and was funny, and we just screenshot it to send it to each other just because who in their right mind is like, yo, I'm watching this football game. The Lions seem like they're getting their butt kicked. I wonder what phase the moon is in. And and we have said some offhanded, completely like random shit, and I've had some like I've learned middle names of players so I could scold them properly from my couch. Like, but never once have I ever pondered the moon's phase. So,
Well, now you got something new to research going
Yeah,
forward.
yeah. I mean, 0 and 15 in a waxing gibbous, so or 0 and 13. So, Detroit, you might want to look at that. Have someone readjust your chakras or some shit. I don't know.
Well, maybe that's why the Commanders lost to the Cowboys the way they did because uh, they got their ass kicked. It was actually a decent game. It was what uh, 20 to 10 at halftime, 14 to 10 in the second quarter. A one score game. Then it's 20 to 10 at halftime. And then the Cowboys just pulled away and won easily, 45 to 10. But the story of this game is Deron Bland breaking the NFL record with his fifth pick six of the season. No one's had five pick sixes in a single season. Deron Bland breaks that record. Everyone on Twitter, former players, secondary, all saying that puts him as the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. How about this story, Amanda? A former fifth round pick that no one really knew of coming into the league, and he's taken the league by storm, really, and breaking NFL records in his second year. It's crazy.
I mean, I had the game kind of in the background. We had people over and stuff, and you messaged me, and I was like, what happened?" And that's amazing. I mean, good for him. He's been very overlooked, but I almost appreciate the players who no one talks about who are breaking records more.
Yeah, yeah, it's incredible. And then even on the pick, it looked like he might get tackled like twice. And it's crazy how he was able to break those tackles and get the touchdown, get the record, because he easily could have been tripped up and it just another interception.
Yeah, I looked up the play after you sent it to me because we were, bouncing back and forth between Cards Against Humanity and the TV, and it was beautiful, that run. I mean, I would love to see some offensive players make a run like that sometime.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Big game for Dak Prescott, four touchdowns, no turnovers. Tony Pollard over 100 yards. Brandon Cooks actually leads the team in receiving.
Hmm.
Sam Howell, this is my issue
Sheesh.
with Sam Howell and the Commanders. He's leading the league in passing yards, 313 yards again, but only 10 points and not even competitive in the process. That's the problem with Washington, right? Is like it's kind of empty stats.
Yeah, I mean, the offense came into the game, scored a touchdown inside 2 minutes in the second quarter. It was great. Like they were rolling, they were keeping the game competitive. And then their defense takes over. And instead of like getting the stop or forcing Dallas into like a hurry up situation, they let Dallas cover 75 yards in 5 plays, a minute and a half. Like, come on, you gotta be able to give your offense a chance. Like that is not enough time to let them score. It's not that hard to get a stop. We've seen shittier defenses do it. Like, what is that?
Yeah. And Ron Rivera asking the same questions on Monday as he fires defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio and defensive backs coach Brent Wieselmeyer. Do you agree with the decision to fire those two guys?
Yes. I'm wondering if they should have fired more people. I
Yeah,
mean, on the defensive side, yes, there were questions, but then later the offense, they're piecing together, a good-looking drive early in the third quarter, 10-point game at that point. They're 3rd and 1, Dallas is 39-yard. 2 plays, all you need is, 3 feet there. And OC, Eric Bieniemy, is like, you know what? Let's pretend it's a second and short. Just take a shot. Take a shot on third and
yeah.
one. Like what was that?
I hate that. The low percentage throw on third and short.
It's so just fucking run the ball. Like, have we
Yeah,
learned nothing from Seattle in the Super
yeah,
Bowl? Like, run it, give it to a runner, do a quarterback sneak. Like, there are options besides throwing it and failing.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. And honestly, it boils down to Ron Rivera should be the one that gets fired. And so I think he's using these firings as a way to buy himself some time here. But
Yeah.
everyone knows he's the next to get fired. And maybe he lasts until the end of the season, but he's not lasting any longer after that. So,
Yeah, I mean, he is scapegoating his coaching staff so much. But
yeah.
at the end of the season, like it's gonna come down to it. So
Yeah, and we'll see if Eric Bieniemy ends up getting that head coach position going forward. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, maybe he'd be
Uh,
better as a head coach than he was an OC this week. So
yeah, and they're gonna give him credit whether it's fair or not for Sam Howell's passing yards, right? So that's just, you know,
are they going to
how
give him credit for those interceptions too, or?
no, he doesn't get that credit.
Oh, okay.
um,
Dysfunctional team, dysfunctional coaching. I mean, what else would you expect?
exactly. The 49ers Seahawks battle for first place in the NFC West. We're hoping for a great game here. Geno Smith playing through a nasty elbow injury, no Kenneth Walker. 49ers jump out to a 24-3 lead and win easily 31-13, but this game was closer than the score indicates. Seattle started to get back into this, and if they had scored a touchdown instead of kicking a field goal, it would have been a one-score game in the second half, but just not enough in the end. And what I take away from this game is just how efficient this 49ers team is and this offense is. Like they seem to move the ball with authority and with ease on almost anybody, right? I mean, it's incredible how talented this offense is.
Yeah, but what's interesting is even Kyle Shanahan, he thought Seattle was making a comeback. I mean, it was 24-3 at the half, Niners up, and he said this one's coming down to the wire. And then it
Yeah,
looked like it was going to. I mean, the Seattle Seahawks, they're a comeback team. We've seen it with different quarterbacks over the years. I mean, they got a pick six, they got a field goal in the third quarter. I mean, the game started to look like it was going to be, a back and forth situation, but then the defense just, let them run all over them after
yeah,
that, and the offense couldn't get going again. And I think I know Geno Smith wants to play, and he's their better quarterback, but he is not playing up to his full potential right now with that injury. And kudos to quarterbacks for playing through injuries, but it only counts if you win the game.
yeah. No, it is frustrating whether you look at the Seahawks or we talk about the Jets here coming up about like the quarterback struggles and Geno Smith got paid this offseason and got extended and a lot of people are saying, man, with I believe the Seahawks had what the fifth overall pick. Like maybe they should have taken a quarterback there, right? And like uh Geno Smith if Geno Smith struggles, who are you gonna go to? Drew Lock? He hasn't looked good either. So the Seahawks are kind of in a bind here and man, you kind of feel like maybe they should have held on to Russell Wilson, right? Like they're in a bad situation here going forward.
Well, it's interesting because Geno Smith, when healthy, has been playing really well for Seattle. But the issue is these recurring nagging injuries that keep, getting him down. And even when he's in the game, he's not fully in the game.
Yeah. And I think Kenneth Walker being out played a big role as well. But most importantly, what I saw in this game is the Seahawks defense really, as talented as it is, had no clue how to slow down this 49ers offense, like at all. Like tip pass pick six, but you take away that pick six, this game is 31-6, right? Like the Seahawks defense couldn't stop whether it's Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, whoever it is. Brock Purdy's spraying the ball all over the field, and then McCaffrey's dicing them up in the run game.
Yeah, it was, I mean, the 49ers offense looked good, but we were expecting nothing less in this game. I
Yeah,
want to give some credit to that defense for playing as well as it did and their special teams. I mean,
yeah,
the defense came together. That first 66-yard kickoff return, I mean, that wasn't a good look, but I mean, the specials teams really settled in after that. I mean, those two punts really, really kind of got to Seattle. I mean, inside their own 10-yard line, one of them at the 1-yard line. Like that's all you can ask for from your special teams. And they were on top of it. And I know we don't give a lot of credit to special teams in general in football, but I was pretty impressed by how well they played.
no, you have to count special teams too. It's three phases of football, and special teams is the reason why the Seahawks lost to the Rams, right? If you make that
Yeah.
field goal, then you're 7-4 right now. But the fact that they've lost that, so now the Seahawks have lost three out of their last four and are sitting at 6-5. And the schedule is not very easy. They're teetering right now on potentially missing the playoffs. So interesting times in Seattle for sure.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like, yeah, they could make a comeback down the stretch, but that offense needs to work its stuff out. And I don't know if that injury is going to be something that Geno Smith can continue playing through, or if it, eventually heals with him still on the field.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be nagging him for a couple weeks at least. So
Yeah, because
they
he's
need
not
Kenneth.
resting it.
Yeah, exactly. And with Kenneth Walker hurt, it's like your two most important pieces to that offense hurt at the same time, right?
Yeah, that
So
sucks. That's a bad break for Seattle.
yeah, definitely. And then today, Black Friday, we got the 7-3 Dolphins at the 4-6 Jets. Um, Zach Wilson benched and moved to third string, so Tim Boyle gets the start. We were hoping Tim Boyle would provide a spark for the Jets offense, but it's more clear now than ever that it's more than just the quarterback position. That Jets offense is bad regardless of who you throw in there. And maybe Aaron Rodgers couldn't even get this fixed based on how bad that offense is right now.
Yeah, and I feel bad for that defense too, because they have been trying all season to keep the game close, and then the offense just doesn't pull it together. But this week, I mean, the Jets defense did not do their job. I mean, they let Miami put up 34. So
Mm-hmm.
we can't even shout out their defense in this one. It was just bad.
Yeah, and typical. The Jets have some bad luck too. I mean, let alone Aaron Rodgers getting hurt on the first possession of the season. That's bad luck. But they got this game close. It was 10-6, and off a pick six, it's 10-6. The Jets throw a Hail Mary to end the first half, and it gets intercepted and taken back for a touchdown. When's the last time have you ever seen a Hail Mary result in a pick six?
I mean, generally everyone's on the field and they, stop the return. Like we
Yeah,
saw that what game was it? There was a game yesterday. It was right before the half that they stopped a pick six Hail Mary return.
yeah, yeah. I think that was
I don't know,
I
but it didn't end
forget.
up changing the outcome of the game, but they knocked him down on the 40-yard line and the clock ran out. So like, okay. But generally that's what happens. I rarely ever see a Hail Mary return. I mean, good legs, kid, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that totally like the Jets had all the momentum, only down four in a game that a lot of people didn't expect to be close. But that pick six swung the momentum, and then the Dolphins run away with it in the second half. Jets can't keep up with the score, and they blow them out 34-13. I mean, but it wasn't that clean of a game. Tua throws two interceptions and a fumble loss, so three turnovers there. Uh, the Dolphins improved to 8-3, but I still have some questions about this Dolphins team going forward. Tua needs to clean up those turnovers if they're going to be a legitimate threat come playoff time. And it doesn't help that linebacker Jalen Phillips goes down with a non-contact Achilles injury. The MetLife Monster takes another player. I know that you've been harping on this for a while now.
I mean, if I'm counting correctly, that's the eighth Achilles this season.
Yeah.
That's insane. And they're big playmakers who this is happening to. So I don't know if there's ever been that many Achilles in a season before.
And I keep saying, man, I think these rule changes and all this stuff, it's the NFL hides behind they're saying that they care about player safety, and they keep trotting these players out on dangerous turfs where they get season-ending injuries, damn near career-ending injuries, and it's like it falls on deaf ears, right? It looks like you don't give a shit about player safety.
Yeah, there are some very simple things they could do that would actually improve player safety that you and I have, thought up. And we're obviously not employed by the NFL, but they're talking about how short weeks and Thursday games are dangerous for players, but everybody gets a bye week, right? So have the
Yeah,
players play their Thursday game after their bye week. It gives them 10 days before the game and 9 days after. That's perfect. They basically have 2 week-and-a-half long breaks. They play their Thursday game. Player safety is intact. We're going to lengthen the season to 17 games because quote unquote player safety. So now
yeah,
the season is longer, but they're playing an extra game. That doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense. Give them 2 bye weeks. If you want to make
exactly.
it safer and you're going to expand it to, an 18-week season, give them 2 bye weeks each. Split up the season a little bit for them instead of an
Yeah.
extra, like one less preseason game. So they play and actually mean it in one more game. That is completely idiotic. Like these things that they're touting as player safety are completely bogus and they're not actually doing anything to help them. And again, I mean, Tom Brady had some great points when he went off over the past week about how everything is now on the defense to, make sure that those are not hurting players. But the offensive players are no longer being taught and learning how to condition their bodies to take a hit and to, have the flexibility and the range of motion needed not to have these season ending injuries when they do get hit.
Yep.
Which is why the rules are increasing, but so are the injuries, which doesn't make any sense. Because if all these rules are being implemented to protect offensive players and defensive players are being limited and, no more hip drop tackles coming in the offseason, then why are there more injuries than any other prior season? Because
Yeah.
no players on the offense are learning how to take a hit now because they're
Yep.
being babied by the NFL.
Yep. Yeah, they're
So it's
trying so hard to
stupid.
protect offensive stars that they're practicing less, they're taking less hits. So when you get on the field and go full speed and actually take the hits, you're more likely, more susceptible to getting hurt. Um, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers were 100% right there. And everyone can see, anyone who follows closely can see right through the bullshit and see that the NFL only cares about making more money and not about player safety. And a lot of these rules are not about player safety. They're about pumping the score up and inhibiting the defense even more and more so that there's more points, right? And it's absolute bullshit. And we need guys like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, J.J. Watt, former players, Richard Sherman, in these league offices to help guide these rule changes and player safety and all that for the benefit of the league, But hopefully they learn their lesson because it's hurting the product, it's hurting the game. Like Tom Brady said, it's a lot of bad football right now, and a lot of major star players going down with injuries that are totally fixable or at least safe, make it safer, right?
Yeah, and I mean, not to overshadow this game and the issues with New York. I mean, you and I could harp on rules and player safety forever. We kind of get going on it, on almost every podcast. But something I wanted to mention about this game is the Jets have had a rough time with the offense, Aaron Rodgers' injury, and their quarterback situation. But what did the front office think was going to be the plan if Aaron Rodgers went down? He's an older quarterback. He's been prone to some pretty intense injuries throughout his career. I mean, collarbones, anyone?
Yep.
Um, yeah, they thought Tim Boyle and Zach Wilson would be an adequate backup room of quarterbacks. That's what they thought their quarterback room for the season could be, and it would be fine. I mean,
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
naivete is amazing to me. So something in that, front office, somebody needed to have said at some point, like, hey guys, we fucked up. We should have brought in like a legitimate backup quarterback. I mean, and Joe Flacco was right there. He was trying out for teams. And did they try to pull him in? Did they
Carson
offer him
Wentz
something?
too.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz. There's a reason the Jets haven't won a Super Bowl since Joe Namath, and it's idiotic bad ownership. And again, it strikes again. Like, yeah, you go all in for Aaron Rodgers, but you don't give him a decent backup, and you put all your eggs in an old quarterback that's taken a lot of hits in his career, and like you said, the collarbone issues. So yeah, 100%. And they had time even after Aaron Rodgers was hurt to address the situation, and
Yeah,
they
it's not
just
like
said,
that
"No,
happened in
we're good."
week 9. It happened 5 seconds into or 5 snaps into 4 snaps into the regular
Yeah,
season. That's insane.
yeah, they deserve it, and they've lost 4 straight games now, and they don't have a quarterback, and that they have no one to blame but themselves. And you know, but that's Jets football, right? They've been doing dumb shit for since we can remember, since we've been watching football. The Jets have been fucking up.
Yeah. And before we get into the remaining games that we need to pick for the week, you mentioned that Hail Mary pick six.
Yeah,
Devon Holland on that play traveled 124.4 yards on that return. It's the most distance traveled by any ball carrier this season. So shout out
damn.
to him for that. He, just set the bar for the season. And then speaking of setting the bar, Tyreek Hill with his 9 catches for 102 yards and that touchdown. He's the second receiver in NFL history to record over 1,300 plus receiving yards and 10 plus receiving touchdowns in a season before December. So he just joined the Rams' Torrey Holt, who
Yeah.
did it in 12 games in 2003. So Tyreek Hill is elite. We know that, but I just wanted to make sure we give him a shout out for that stat line and that, second place in history now.
Oh yeah, Tyreek Hill needs to be in the conversation for NFL MVP. Like they're trying to put Tua in that conversation. Man, we all know why the Dolphins are having that much success. It's Tyreek Hill.
We also know why Tyreek Hill's old quarterback looks like shit because his receivers can't catch. I bet he is
Yep.
missing Tyreek Hill. He is, sad Wolverine with the picture over Tyreek Hill and these games.
Well, let's get started on the picks. How are you feeling about the 5-5 Saints at the 4-6 Falcons battle for first place in the NFC South?
So this one I think is, I mean, I don't know. The records are ugly. First place in the NFC South, is on the line here, but I don't trust the Falcons. They're going back to Desmond Ritter at quarterback.
Yep.
Like you lost 3 straight games, so you're putting back in your shitty quarterback. Like I don't like Desmond Ritter. I don't trust them. That team is dysfunctional. Like you can't even decide who your starting quarterback is.
Yeah.
Like it's a very unpredictable division, but it's sad. So I gotta pick the Saints here because they seem less dysfunctional. But like, does anyone want to win in the NFC South? Like, has any team ever been like, you know what, this is my division? Because I cannot remember the last time that division hasn't been absolute garbage with mediocre teams winning the division with a barely over 500 record.
Since Drew Brees retired, right? Back when Drew Brees was captaining the Saints, that was the last time, and Tom Brady was taking the Bucks to the Super Bowl. That's the last time it was competitive. Since then, it's been a lot of mediocrity, and I'm
I mean,
riding with
Tampa Bay won the division last season at 8-9.
yeah,
If you can't end the
yeah.
season with a 500 record, the division title should be forfeited and become a third playoff wild card seat.
No, I love it. Sometimes there's bad divisions, so you got to give them that home playoff game. That's the craziness of the football that we love, right? Remember when the Seahawks won with like a 7-9 or 6-10 record, and then beat the Saints in the playoffs with Marshawn Lynch?
God. Well, what I was thinking, speaking of Seattle's division, there was a year when Arizona missed the playoffs with a 10-win record.
Yeah,
Like
I love it.
that, oh, that would piss me off so much. Yeah, I don't know. But I don't. I mean, maybe the Falcons pull off a win, but they just seem so dysfunctional. I got to pick the 500 Saints who are currently leading the division. I mean, they've
Yeah,
got to. They've got to
I
pull it off. I mean, Alvin Kamara is the only running back with 50 receptions this season, so I'm just assuming he's going to continue carrying the team.
Yeah, yeah. Derek Carr's back and healthy. I picked the Saints to win in the preseason. They're still currently leading the division, even though they're 5-5 and been up and down roller coaster all year. But I'm riding with the Saints. I'm like you. I don't trust Desmond Ritter. So give me the Saints on the road to go into Atlanta and win. But again, nothing would surprise me here because that division's so crazy. But we're both gonna take the Saints here on the road.
Yeah, the Falcons are just such a mess.
Yeah. Um, how about Steelers Bengals?
So this one, I would love for this to be a fully healthy Joe Burrow, versus the Steelers. I think it would be a fun game to watch, but there's no replacing Joe Burrow. And Jake Browning didn't do terrible last week,
Hmm.
but I can't see the Bengals pulling this one off without that, quarterback magic.
I think if Joe Burrow was healthy and played, this wouldn't be a good game. I think the Bengals would blow the Steelers out. With Burrow not playing and Jake Browning starting, I actually think this is going to be a great game. I have no faith in the Steelers offense. I'm not a Kenny Pickett guy. They finally fired Matt Canada, so we'll see if the new offensive play caller will provide a spark. I actually think this is going to be a great, hard-fought game, but give me the Steelers' defense and their pass rush to get after Browning, and the Steelers to win a close one, like maybe 16-13 or 17-13 in Cincy. And no T. Higgins again in this game, so that's part of the process.
Yeah, there's quite a few like big name players who are out in this game. I
Yeah.
wrote, let me just go find it. Whatever, I can't find it. Anyway, yeah, so there's going to be some interesting pieces that are missing on the field. And you know, right now Kenny Pickett has Mike Sullivan, who's like his buddy on the team calling plays, quarterbacks coach. So, maybe their connection and their relationship will help Pickett, show off if he has any talent.
Hmm.
Because this is an opportunity to show that he actually is fit to be a starting quarterback against a Bengals team that has an awful passing defense. I think they're 28th, 29th in the league.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe Pickett has a good game here, that he's being coached by someone he actually connects with, but we'll see. But yeah, I got to pick the Steelers here.
Yeah, and this is a prove it game for Kenny Pickett because if he struggles again, then everyone's gonna say, "Look, it wasn't Matt Canada, it was you jackass. You suck at quarterback." Regardless of who's calling plays. So prove it game for Kenny Pickett. If he struggles again, I'm gonna start the let's give Mitch Trubisky a shot narrative.
I mean, you love Mitch.
Yeah, Maserati Mitch.
I don't know why that name didn't take. I don't. It's so weird.
All right, so we're both taking the Steelers.
Yeah, I think so. I mean that game is unfortunately, not the players we wanted to see on the field for it. But I mean the next game, how are you feeling about this one? So Carolina at Tennessee.
Battle of rookie quarterbacks. Will
Yeah,
Levis versus Bryce Young.
I, I
Um,
I thought this game was going to be more enticing. Like
yeah.
when the rookies were both signed to the teams, I was ready for, this game to be really good and not to be a combined 4 wins between the two teams.
Yeah. Pretty
So,
pretty sad matchup now.
yeah, I mean, neither team has broke 16 points in any game in the past 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like they both want to lose almost. I mean, both of the teams have looked awful for 3 weeks. So somebody has to win this one. So it's kind of great that they get to play each other. Carolina hasn't won a game on the road this season. So maybe they pull off a road win here so they're not embarrassed again. But I mean, Tennessee has Derrick Henry, so I think I got to take the Titans here.
Yeah, I mean Frank Reich's calling plays. I don't trust him at all. They're on the road where they struggle, and we've seen Will Levis have a great game. 4 touchdowns, I believe, in his first action. So, while I don't trust, I'm not a big fan of either of these two quarterbacks and two offenses. I think the Titans will do just enough to win another sloppy game, maybe like 16-13 or 20-13, something like that. Give me the Titans at home. I agree.
Yeah, I hope this is a competitive dumpster fire. Like there's
Yeah.
4 wins and they both clearly want a better draft pick. Like that's all they're fighting for at this point. Like you're not winning the division. You're not winning anything other than maybe a better draft pick. So I kind of want to see who wants to lose more at this point. But
Yeah.
Carolina, I mean, their draft pick situation is kind of a mess anyway. So yeah,
Yeah.
no.
I another reason why I'm picking the Titans. I want Carolina to lose out so we get
Yeah,
that number one pick.
number one. So I mean,
All
for Chicago's sake, let's pick Tennessee here then, I guess.
right, sounds good.
So a
Uh,
matchup that I hope is less of a dumpster fire than that one. The 4-6 Buccaneers coming into the 5-5 Colts. The Bucks have had a kind of rough go of it the past couple weeks. How do you see this one playing out?
yeah, the Bucks need this win. They've lost like what, 4 of their last 5 or something like that.
Yeah, I think they've pulled off one in the past month.
Yeah. So the Colts are coming off their bye week. Uh it's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be hard fought, I think. I think this is tooth and nail, fight to the death type of game. But give me the Bucks on the road. I don't trust Gardner Minshew against on paper what should be a pretty good defense. Lots of talent on that defense. Um, I think that the Bucks bounce back, get a big win. They're still alive. They're still fighting in that division, and they need this one. Colts need it too, but I just don't trust the Colts and Gardner Minshew. So give me Tampa Bay on the road here.
Yeah, I'm picking Tampa Bay here too. I mean, but you called out their defense. They've allowed 400 plus yards in 4 of their last 5 games.
Yeah, it's
So, I
bad.
mean,
They got
they,
too
yeah,
much talent to be doing that.
yeah, they're one of those individually talented but like cohesively questionable teams on defense.
Yeah,
But I mean, I think this needs to be their prove it game. I mean, they're 6th ranked in the run, which gives them a great shot of stopping Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss. So,
yep.
if they can force, turnover prone Gardner Minshew to, throw some turnovers because he's
Mhm.
not going to be able to get the run game going against that defense. So, I mean, Gardner Minshew will be sprinkling the ball to Tampa Bay. They've got a shot, and I got to trust Baker more than I trust Gardner here.
Yeah, and as bad as the Bucks have been playing recently and throughout this season, it's not Baker's fault, I don't think. Baker's been playing his ass off and trying to keep this team competitive, and yeah, I trust him again to play hard, play smart, and do just enough to get the win.
Yeah, I mean, Tampa Bay is ranked last in rushing yards and yards per carry, which,
Yeah,
I mean, Baker is getting them the ball. They're just not moving it. So I think Baker's been taking these losses personally. And I mean, we've seen him on his legs the past couple of weeks. He is doing as much as he possibly can. Like he is the MVP of that team right now, even with their record, even with the losses, he is still trying. So I think this can be their kind of bounce back game. And the Colts, I mean, I know they're coming off a bye week, but the dysfunction with, Shaq Leonard and his sudden release after talking shit about the team,
yeah.
there's some stuff going on behind closed doors in Indianapolis that I just don't trust.
Yeah, 100%. I don't trust the Colts. I don't think they're that good of a team. They're 5-5 right now. I think they're a much worse team than 500, and I think they finished the season with a losing record. And it starts here with a game that they could, they should win. They're at home. They need it, but give me Tampa Bay on the road to get the win. Um, so after disagreeing on the first 4 games of the week, Thursday and Friday, we've agreed on everything to this point.
Yeah, we've agreed on the next 4. So
So let's get into the Super Bowl rematch. Are you excited for this, Amanda? The 2-8 Patriots at the 3-8 Giants. Eli Manning, Tom
I
Brady.
was like,
Oh
wait,
wait.
which Super Bowl? I mean, DeVito didn't suck this last week. So, this could
Yeah.
be I like that we have the 4 worst teams playing each other this week. Like the Pats are, right there with the Panthers for that number 1 draft pick. I mean, there's a legitimate chance they've got it after this week if they lose and
I'm
Carolina
just
wins.
I'm just glad you didn't lump the Bears into the 4 worst teams in the league. That's a win for us right now.
The Bears are scrappy, man. They should have beat
Yeah.
Detroit. That was an act of God. I,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there. That was insane. I mean, a +3 turnover margin, like, and you lost it. What? Like, I'm
Yeah.
still confused by that one because I picked the Lions in that one, and I had gone onto my list and marked it as a loss, and then I don't know what the fuck happened. Like,
Well, I'm
so
blaming you then. I'm blaming you for that one.
I'm sorry. To be fair, I do that a lot, and generally I'm right. Like that was one of the few games that surprised me with 5 minutes left. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a win for X.
That-
That
That's
one.
called getting Eber fleeced right there.
I like it. I can get you a shirt that says that.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Giants have Tommy DeVito, who has played okay, surprisingly, in the past week. But I mean, that Bill Belichick defense, they seem to only play well against rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So every time they've played a rookie passer, I mean, that's happened 30 times since he's been their head coach. They're 24-6.
Damn.
But the 2023 Bill Belichick is not the Tom Brady Bill Belichick. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to pick this one because, like, yes, Bill Belichick is the GOAT of coaches, obviously, but like they have 2 wins. I was thinking about picking the Giants because they've got home field advantage, but I don't know if that's an advantage in this game. Like it's so bad. I don't.
Yeah, it's the 31st and 32nd ranked scoring offenses.
Yeah, it's so bad. I mean, I like
Um,
Kayvon Thibodeau for the Giants, so I think I'll just pick the Giants for him. I mean, he's the first Giants player with 10 plus sacks in their first 11 games since JPP in 2011. So,
yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna pick the Giants for one player. There we go.
Yeah.
Decision made.
No, I mean I agree with you again. Like I can't I've picked the Patriots all season long and said this is the week they're gonna get it right. This is the week they're gonna get it right.
How's that
This
going for
is the
you?
week they're gonna get it right. And they drop the ball every single time. So I can't do it this week. Give me the Giants and Tommy DeVito. If you had told me in the preseason that I would pick the Tommy DeVito led Giants to win a game this year, I would have said I was really high that week. But that's the way I'm going. I mean, there's something seriously wrong in New England right now. There's something in the water. There's Bill Belichick's tanking so he can get the hell out of there. I don't know what it is, but Mac Jones, after that throw against the Colts when he had a chance to beat them, I can't pick that guy.
Yeah.
Bailey Zappi didn't look any better either.
Do we
So
know who's starting this week? Have they
no, I'm
clarified?
assuming it's Mac Jones, but they have left it up in the air. It could be Bailey Zappi. It could be the third stringer. Nobody knows.
Yeah, that's so dysfunctional. Like how do you pick that team that hasn't even picked their quarterback for the week on Friday?
Yeah.
So,
So,
all right, we agree again. We're 5 for 5 so far for Sunday.
yep.
So speaking of
Um,
other shitty teams who are playing, oh man. All right, so talk to me about the next game. Walk me through your thought process here.
so 7-3 Jags at the 6-4 Texans. This might be the best game of the week. Like this is a great game. Battle for first place in the AFC South. No one would have thought that at this point in the season this would be such a great game, but it really is. And all the pressure's on Jacksonville, who didn't expect the Texans to be a game back with a chance to sweep them, right? They blew the Jags out 37-17 in their first meeting in Jacksonville. So the Texans are coming in with confidence, with a chance to take the division lead, and no one would have expected Houston to be in this spot at this point in the season. Um, this is going to be a great game, and I believe in Jacksonville, though. The Texans are on a 3-game winning streak, but CJ Stroud is coming off a 3 interception game. The Jags are coming off a big win, a bounce back win, impressive win over the Titans. I believe the Jags, show up. They know it's a big game. They're going to treat it like a playoff game, and you're going to see the best version of Trevor Lawrence and these Jags. Give me Jacksonville on the road over the Houston Texans.
So I was on the fence about this one. So we have seen some really good games out of both of these teams, and then we've seen them lose in very questionable ways. I mean, the Jags lost 2 weeks ago, 34-3, but against a very good 49ers team. So I
Yeah,
will forgive them for that. They had an off day. But if you go back a month ago, I mean, how many wins does Carolina have? One, right?
yeah, one
They
win.
lost to the winless Panthers less than a month ago. The Texans.
Houston did. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
So, I mean, I don't know how, I don't know why, like Texas, I mean, they're on a 3 game streak. They've been winning, but I can't forgive them. It was less than a month ago. Like, how are you gonna lose to Carolina? Like, they had to win at some point, but that game, that was not the game we picked.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, at some point the Texans are going to hit their ceiling on the season, and they've overachieved and overachieved and overachieved. This, I think, is their ceiling. I don't see them sweeping the Jags and taking first place in the AFC South. I think they've hit their ceiling. I think this is where Jacksonville takes that jump and takes control of the division, takes a 2-game lead, right, and drops the Texans back down closer to 500, about where they should be. That's where, it just makes sense that Jacksonville wins this game. Even though it's going to be tough and hard fought, I think they find a way.
Yeah, I think the concept of being swept by the Texans right now is going to be really under the Jags' skin. Well, I want
Yeah,
this one to be a shootout. I mean, the Texans have averaged almost 500 yards per game,
yeah,
486 yards in their past 3 games. The Jags haven't been that explosive. Again, we had that loss to the Niners in the past 2 weeks. But I mean, 404 yards in their first matchup. So I want to see, plus 800 yards of offense in this game. And CJ Stroud hasn't thrown for less than 336 in their 3-game winning streak. So I expect some big numbers, big scores in this one. But I gotta agree with you and pick the Jags here because I just don't. Yeah, I don't think they're the same team that Houston faced in week 3. I think the Jags are clicking a bit better and have kind of found their stride.
yeah. I agree. This should be a great quarterback matchup, but the big thing I'm going to be keeping my eyes on is C.J. Stroud. Do the interceptions start to become a thing here, or does he bounce back and have a clean game? Coming off a 3 interception game against the Cardinals of all teams is not what you want to do. And now you're facing a really good Jags team with a good defense that can force turnovers. Don't follow it up with another turnover game with 2 or 3 picks. If you have a clean game, you give yourself a chance to win. But if turnovers might be the difference here, and I trust Trevor Lawrence over the rookie. As great as CJ Stroud has played this year, give me Trevor Lawrence here in a big game. So we agree again, but trust me, we're gonna start disagreeing here shortly.
Okay, I mean it's interesting that we agree to this point. I think it's we had to make up for Thursday and yesterday's games, I guess.
And you kicked my ass too. You're up 5 games now, so here we go. This is where I get back into things here.
All right, go ahead and introduce it then.
All right. Well, let's do 7-3 Browns at the 5-5 Broncos. Another great matchup. This might be the second best game of the weekend. I can't wait for this game. Browns come in, two teams on a winning streak. The Browns on a 3-game winning streak. The Broncos on a 4-game winning streak. Two solid defenses. The Browns, however, are running out a rookie quarterback who played better last week, but still, it's a rookie quarterback that I'm not quite sure about. I know Russell Wilson. I trust him better. I know he's going up against the number 1 defense in the NFL, but Denzel Ward is out for Cleveland. That's a big loss. Give me the Denver Broncos at home to beat the Cleveland Browns, snap their winning streak.
So even with my 5-game lead on you so far, the last
Yeah.
3 weeks I have picked against the Broncos. And I mean, the Browns did just get an OC fired last week, but I think Denver, I mean, they haven't lost since October 12th. So I've picked against them the last couple of weeks. It's come to bite me in the ass. So I'm going to pick them and hope that they lose now because I picked them. But I mean, Russell Wilson leads the NFL in touchdown to interception ratio right now. Like he's 19
Yeah,
to
he's
4. He's been
balling.
super accurate. I mean, Dorian Thompson Robinson could never. So if it's coming down to like two great defenses, and then I think the defenses are pretty evenly matched, but then the offenses, I mean, there's going to be a lot more turnovers on one side of the ball, and my money is on the Browns turning that ball over. If their starting quarterback was Watson and they were still, there, I would love to see this matchup, but I think
Yeah.
the Browns are gonna get beat up by that defense a little bit with Dorian behind center.
It's nice to hear you give the Broncos their flowers and Russell Wilson too. It's about damn time, Amanda.
Listen, so Seattle and I, as a Packers fan, have had a lot of drama. Like I have lived in the Seattle area, that touchdown interception situation, the replacement referees, the comeback NFC championship game that Seattle
Yeah.
had completely lost and still found a way to pull off. Like it's been rough. Okay. So I had issues with them, but the final straw was after that NFC championship game comeback, which was beautiful, stunning. It was not on the refs at all. Seattle just played an amazing game. I can admit that. Was this motherfucker opening his mouth and saying, through tears, I guess God was just a Seattle fan. Nah, man. Mm-mm. Take God out of football. Like that was it. I have not forgiven him for that yet. So, I'll give him some kudos for where he's at in the season. And the Broncos have been looking really good. They've been riding, 4-game win streak. Um, their rhythm does seem a bit off though. Even though he's been playing winning football, I don't know.
Well, it's a
There's
lot
something
better.
not clicking yet.
It's a lot better. It's not 100% there yet, but num ultimately their defense is keeping them in games. And trust Sean Payton, right? The Sean Payton hire was the best thing the Broncos have done in a while since signing Peyton Manning. Sean Payton's the guy, and he's getting this offense slowly turned around and getting Russ turned around. Russ looked bad last year, and we can blame Nathaniel Hackett. We can put a lot of blame on Russell Wilson too. Sean Payton is slowly fixing this offense, which was a big time project, and the defense is helping it and buying it some time. And a win like this on Sunday against a very good Browns defense will do a lot towards that. Watch out for this Broncos team. If they win again and get to a 5 game winning streak, look out for this Broncos team. They could make some noise. If they sneak into the playoffs, nobody wants to play this team. We've seen Russ have success in the playoffs before. So let's keep an eye on this Broncos team, see how it the story unfolds here. But this is a big opportunity for Denver at home on Sunday.
Did you say Miles Garrett isn't playing?
No, Miles Garrett is playing. Denzel Ward is out.
Denzel Ward is okay. I know Miles Garrett had that foot injury he's been kind of nursing. I wasn't sure if you mentioned that. Because I mean, losing any of those players is going to be tough.
Yeah,
I'm glad Miles Garrett is playing. I like that Russ gave him a shout out saying he's a great player and he's, gonna be a tough matchup. So I like the mutual respect on these teams, but I'm gonna pick Denver here and then hope I'm wrong. I love the Browns. They're such a sad underdog story.
no,
Um,
they're fun. But
they're really fun to watch. I mean, if the Browns pulled off this win with that last second drive like they've done a couple times this season, that would be the
yeah,
franchise record, 4 victories in a season off a winning drive in the final 2 minutes. I would love to see it come down to the final 2 minutes of the game here.
yeah, I just feel like at some point the rookie's gonna make some mistakes, and I think
Oh,
this is the week that
absolutely.
it happens. Yeah.
Yeah. I trust the Browns defense slightly more than Denver's, but I think Denver's offense is miles, pun intended, ahead of the Browns.
Yeah. How about Rams Cardinals? I mean, two bad records, but you got a classic Matthew Stafford against Kyler Murray. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nakua both expected to play. Interesting game in Arizona. Actually, kind of fun matchup.
Yeah, I can kind of see Kyler Murray finding a way to win, even with Puka and Cup on the field. But Arizona's defense has been taking a lot of hit. Kazir White, F Fatu, are both out on IR this week. I mean, the Rams are getting Kyron Williams back, but they've been taking a lot of hits, so I don't know about that defense.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I don't know. I don't know who to pick here. It helps the Rams to have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nakua back. I know that.
Yeah,
But Kyler
my
Murray's capable as well of getting a win here.
I mean, both of the quarterbacks are out to prove something. I mean, Stafford's been struggling, 9 touchdowns against 8 interceptions. Murray, his third game back from that ACL surgery, but he hasn't really, found a consistent rhythm being back on the team yet. So
Hmm.
for my pick, I wrote Rams question mark. So I guess I'll just stick with the Rams. But yeah, I'm clearly not very convicted on this one.
Yeah, just because we've agreed on everything to this point, and this is a bit of a toss-up game, give me the Cardinals at home. Um, I'm not a big Rams fan. I'm not a big Stafford fan. Not a big McVay fan. I'm not a big Jonathan Gannon fan either, but Kyler Murray's fun to watch, so let's go Cardinals.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I hope it's scrappy, but it's just such a mess on both sides. I feel like
Yeah.
they're pretty evenly matched. Don't love McVay either, but I guess. I mean,
It wouldn't
Nakua's worst game
surprise me.
of the season was in week 6 against the Cardinals. So I
Yeah.
could see the Cardinals, you know, pulling this one off pretty easily. But if
He-
Cooper Cup doesn't play, I know they said he's expected to. If he doesn't play, I'm gonna take a loss on this one for sure.
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me whoever wins this game. It won't surprise me. It's a true toss-up, and I'll ride with the Cardinals, but I'm not super confident in it either. How
All right,
about
so I'll
this
put an
AFC West showdown?
Cardinals for you.
Huh?
I said, so my pick is Rams. I'll put Cardinals for yours.
There
Perfect.
you go. Yeah. How about this AFC West showdown? This is actually going to be a lot of fun here. The 7-3 Chiefs at the 5-6 Raiders. And we know the Chiefs' issues are well documented. The receivers can't catch the ball. They can't score apparently in the second half. Haven't scored any points in the second half for 3 straight games. They're averaging 5 points per game in the second half this season. Matt Nagy is clearly affecting that offense. The receivers, it's worth mentioning again, they can't catch the ball. Uh, the Raiders are playing better football after firing Josh McDaniels. Any shot the Raiders pull this one off?
I mean, if Max Crosby continues his like in-game vendetta against Patrick Mahomes, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, since Crosby entered the league in 2019, the Chiefs has won 7 of 8 of their matchups. But Crosby, 3 of his 4 sacks last season and 3 of his 9 QB hits were against Mahomes. That man
Mm-hmm.
had Mahomes numbered last season. So I would love to see Max Crosby get after Patrick Mahomes again because Mahomes is holding onto the ball way too long this season because his receivers can't get open. When they do get open, they can't catch the ball. So he is holding onto it, hoping for a miracle. So I mean that could be fun. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to take a couple tumbles in this one.
Real quick on that, I hope Max Crosby plays. As of right now, he's doubtful with a knee injury.
I thought he was updated to questionable, not doubtful.
I'm seeing doubtful as of
Oh,
five
jeez.
hours ago. I'll look though.
No. I was hoping it was questionable and then they let him play.
They
Damn.
need him to play. He needs to play through it. This is a big opportunity for them.
Yeah. I thought I saw questionable and I was like, okay, well they'll probably play him then because he wants to get after Mahomes. Damn. All right. Well, I gotta pick the
Everything
Chiefs
I'm
then if he's
seeing
not
is
playing.
5 to 7 to 8 hours ago, so I don't know for sure.
Okay, maybe I read that wrong. I mean, all right. Well, in that case, I'm gonna stick with my boy L'Jarius Sneed. I know I picked the Chiefs to win last week, and I was wrong about that Super Bowl rematch. However, had they continued running the ball in the second half against Philadelphia, they would have won. And Matt
Yep.
Nagy is a freaking idiot. So I'm gonna pick the Chiefs here and hope that someone has smacked some sense into Nagy over the past week.
No, you could run Nagy over with a 18 wheeler and he's still gonna do the same mistakes. Nagy's terrible. And you're
Yeah.
seeing not only the loss of Tyreek Hill in Kansas City, you're seeing the loss of Eric Bieniemy.
Hmm.
And the Chiefs have to prove it to me, right? I want to watch a game and see the Chiefs score a point in the second half before I pick them ever to win a game again. Like I've never heard of 3 straight games with 0 points in the second half. What is going on? And I saw that firsthand. We were watching that Monday night game closely, and they were dominating the Eagles, up 17-7, running all over them. And to do absolutely nothing in the second half is mind-boggling. And on
Yeah, if
top of
something
that,
is working, don't stop doing it the entire second half of the game.
yeah. And then it's well documented going back to week 1 that these receivers can't catch the ball. And in the rain, you're going to depend on the receivers again. What are you doing, right? And then even Travis Kelce fumbles the ball in the red zone. There's something going on in Kansas City. And the fact that they went into the bye week with these second half issues and come out of the bye week and it's still a problem, that's very concerning for me. I think something really actually is going on wrong in Kansas City. Give me the Raiders at home. They've never beaten the Chiefs in Vegas, but the Broncos had never beat Mahomes. I think it ends on Sunday. Give me the Raiders over the Chiefs on Sunday in Vegas.
Okay. Well, we're gonna disagree on this one too. Not
Yeah,
because I trust the Chiefs offense, but just I mean, L'Jarius Sneed last week on AJ Brown, stunning coverage.
yeah.
And the Eagles have so many more weapons than the Raiders do. So I mean, L'Jarius Sneed on Devontae Adams, that leaves who open? Renfro and
Well, Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers.
Um, Not a lot, Hunter Renfro, Josh Jacobs, maybe.
Yeah. but I mean, Legarius was never going to cover him. So,
Yeah,
I mean, the Raiders, the only time that in the past 6 weeks they've put up more than 14 points was against the Giants.
yeah.
So I trust Kansas City's defense to hold them down far enough that Kansas City can pull off a win with a 14-point score. And I think Kansas City can do that. But I mean, the Raiders 13 points, 16 points, or I guess it was 16. But yeah, so they haven't scored more than 20 except for one game against the Giants in this season.
Well, and
We've had one game above 20 points all season.
and the Chiefs haven't scored more than 21 points in 3 straight games.
Well, I mean,
So,
as you said last week that the Packers would score more than 20, I'm going to say the Chiefs score more than 21 this week.
all right, all right, and I wish Max Crosby was playing. I hope that he figures out a way to play through the injury. But I
I
don't
wanted that
care.
matchup.
I don't. I got this feeling, gut feeling that like you know, I don't know, but I got this gut feeling like it doesn't matter. The Raiders are going to find a way to win this. The Chiefs, there's something wrong in Kansas City. I said there's something wrong in New England. There's something wrong in Kansas City. I've never seen this whole second half issues thing. Whatever the Chiefs score in the first half, that might be it once again. And the fact that they couldn't fix it over the bye week is very concerning. And I know from all my years of Matt Nagy, seeing him up close, don't trust anything Matt Nagy has his hands on. So go Raiders, get the W, and send the Chiefs on a losing streak here. Come on, Vegas.
All right, fair enough. All right, so I mean, this next game we just talked about the Eagles quite a bit. Eagles at home, 9-1 record. The Bills are coming to town. The Bills have had a lot of issues with turnovers this season. We've seen, the Bills take a couple really tough losses. Is anyone picking the Bills at this matchup?
Well, let me ask you. The Bills are your AFC team. They're coming off a big get right blowout win over the Jets. They need it. They're 6-5. The Dolphins have improved to 8-3, so the Bills need this. Are they gonna fall back to 500 and be sitting at 6-6, or can they ride the spark by Joe Brady taking over play calling and Rasul Douglas coming in on defense? Is that enough to get the Bills a big road win here? What do you think?
I mean, Josh Allen looked a lot better last week. The new offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, is really handling things for him. Positive steps this week. I mean, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. I mean, they've been clicking really well against any other team except for maybe the Eagles and the Niners. I would say, yeah, the Bills have a shot, but
Yeah,
no, the Eagles are going to win this one. No one is playing better football right now. Like, there's a reason they're 9-1. The
yeah,
Eagles are red hot. I mean, Kansas City is a top 5 team, and we saw what happened last week. And granted, I think that was more Kansas City losing the game in the second half and just quitting. But I mean, Josh Allen, he's on an interception streak. I could see him maybe playing a cleaner game after last week's win, but this is not the Jets. This is the Eagles. There is no way in hell, as much as I love Josh Allen and the boys, that the Bills pull off a win here.
yeah. And there's going to be a lot of eyes on this game to see how Josh. This is a big prove it game for Josh Allen and the Bills to see how they look against an elite Eagles team. Like in the preseason, we would have called this a Super Bowl preview. But right now, there's a lot of questions in Buffalo, and if they lose, they fall back to 500 at 6-6, and the pressure keeps mounting, to see if they even make the playoffs, right? So all eyes on Buffalo, all eyes on Josh Allen. How do you perform in a true test against an elite team? I agree with you. I'm taking the Eagles here, but it's going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, a fun game. And my eyes are going to be on Rasul Douglas whenever that boy is on the field. I mean, 2 interceptions in 3 games since he's
Yeah.
joined your team. Like, he is such a good fit for the Bills. And as sad as I am that he left Green Bay, or not that he left, it wasn't his choice, but as sad as I am about that, I am so glad he found a good fit and that
Mm-hmm.
they're utilizing him. So yeah. Moving on
Yeah.
to,
Yeah. I mean, this is going to come down to turnovers. I think whoever protects the football likely wins, and I just trust the Eagles to protect the football more than I do Josh Allen based on recent history. And the Bills have been one of those up and down teams. They've won 3 of their last 7, so they need to get it turned around here quickly.
Yeah, moving on to a contender is definitely ideal.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
speaking of moving on, we've got the 8-3 Ravens at the 4-6 Chargers.
I don't think this one is going to be that close. Like
No,
I know.
unfortunately. I
Yeah,
mean,
I know.
NFL's best defense, NFL's worst defense. Uh,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
in LA, but we know how fans travel to
Mhm.
SoFi. Mark Andrews is out, so that might slow the Ravens offense down a little bit.
Yeah, except
But
for the Chargers are the worst team against the pass, and the Ravens are stacked with wide receivers.
yeah,
I mean, they've allowed 291 yards average per game, which is the second worst in total yards per game allowed. And we have seen the Ravens receivers. I mean, they are stacked. There is no way in hell the Chargers win this one.
there's a chance that the Chargers can put up some points on them. Like we've seen the Chargers get into a shootout with the Lions. I know the Ravens defense is better than that in Detroit, but Herbert, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston, Austin Eckler, they're capable of putting up points, those tight ends. But at the end of the day, even if it's a shootout, give me the Ravens to outshoot them, right? So Ravens on the road here. Pretty easy pick.
Yeah, and I think it's about time Zay Flowers hits that 100-yard receiving game. I mean, he's been their number one target, but he's been floating around 80 yards for the past couple of weeks. Let's get him over that mark this week.
Yeah, and it's nice to see Lamar Jackson spreading the love around, though, too, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's been all over the place.
Yeah. And a big note here, Joey Bosa is on injured reserve, so another loss for that Chargers defense.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean the Mark Andrews loss for the Ravens was pretty tough, but I'm intrigued to see how his fill-in Isaiah Likely plays this.
Yeah, yeah. He could fill in nicely.
Yeah, especially I mean we just talked about that Chargers pass defense. Maybe he shows up in week one and starts producing right away. It's a great
Yeah,
team to need to start against for your first game.
absolutely. So let's go to Monday Night Football. Wrap it up here. The Bears at the Vikings. 3-8 Bears at the 6-8 Vikings. We just saw the Vikings 5-game winning streak come to an end against the Broncos. Justin Jefferson quote, "I'm not sure. We'll see if he plays on Monday night." So still not sure about Justin Jefferson coming back from that hamstring injury. Um, Good quarterback matchup. Justin Fields against Josh Dobbs. Vikings are clearly the better defense here with Brian Flores coaching that unit. But I'm excited for Fields against Josh Dobbs. What do you think here?
I am. I think this is going to come down to which defense holds the quarterback still.
Yeah.
Like if either one of those quarterbacks gets out of the pocket, they're going to run all over that defense. They're
Mm-hmm.
both great on their legs. They're both really good runners. I mean, Justin Fields rushed for 46 yards last week. If the Vikings defense can contain him, I think the Vikings defense can, help lead that team to a win. But then on the other side of the ball, Dobbs, I mean, man runs marathons. Like he goes to the moon and shit. Like if if the Bears defense can't hold him off, then it's going to be real tough for them to pull off a win. I got to put my money on Minnesota here. I mean, Hawkinson, best tight end in the league right now. He needs 9 more receptions for the season to have the most in a season by any Vikings tight end. I mean, Kyle Rudolph had 83 in 2016.
Wow.
And he's been playing so well. So I'm gonna roll with the Vikings here, I guess.
Yeah. Um, Bold statement time for Alex.
Oh no.
Justin Fields will outplay Josh Dobbs, and the Bears go into Minnesota and get a big win.
Okay, I'm gonna write this down. Fields will outplay Dobbs. Okay, well, we'll
Yep.
see how the Pastronaut does against Jay Fields. I think it could be a great game. I mean, those Bears cornerbacks, Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, they've been really, really good in the past couple weeks. So maybe they can shut down Dobbs. Maybe they can shut down that pass attack. So we'll see.
Yeah, if Justin Jefferson doesn't play again, they'll have a much better shot, right? And Hawkinson might get his, but the Bears are capable of putting up some points lately. Fields played well last week. He's going up against a good defense, but I am believing in Justin Fields to play well again. I think he's going to be motivated with going up against Josh Dobbs, similar style of play, and hopefully Fields uses his legs. He's starting to look like last year Fields with his running ability, at least against Detroit. I'm hoping that happens again on Monday night. It's going to be a fun game to watch. Go Bears. And I'm going to be wearing my Justin Fields jersey. I'm rooting for Fields, man. I don't want to see the Bears move on from him. I want to see him finish the season off strong, and get another opportunity next year with hopefully Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do with those, first round draft picks. If they go for
Yeah,
Caleb Williams instead of building around Fields, might be an answer for Fields. But I think he has more talent than people give him credit for. They just haven't built around him.
yeah. And let's get Eberfleet out of town. Let's get Luke Getzey out of town. Let's get some people in here who know how to coach.
Yeah, and I mean, you said you'd be wearing your Bears jersey. The only Vikings jersey I have is a Brett Favre
Well,
Vikings
throw it
jersey.
on.
No, no, we keep it safe. We don't wear that one. Uh, I'll give it a nod in the back of the closet.
That's it. I'm getting you a Jared Allen Vikings jersey.
Oh, okay, I love me some Jared Allen. He played for other teams. I would just like to say we could. It doesn't have to be the Vikings.
All right, Jared Allen Bears jersey.
I've rocked a Bears jersey before. I love Brian Urlacher back in the day. We won't name names, but if an ex of mine hadn't stolen my Urlacher jersey, I would still have one. So
Yeah, we don't know who that is.
anyway, let's wrap it up. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll stay on topic here. Great Thanksgiving weekend of football. We hope you guys have enjoyed our picks and Alex being wrong as usual. But we've got 4 picks different here, so maybe he makes a comeback.
Yeah, I'm cutting it down to one game. I'm telling you, the comeback's coming. Don't disregard Thanksgiving and Friday. The real comeback is happening on Sunday, so stay tuned for that. And good shit as always. Appreciate the support, and have a great week, guys. Peace out.